Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping and Paul Felder.
We are rolling. We are back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest podcast on planet Earth, and we are back. I mean, that's a bold shout. It's a bold shout. It is, but so what? We're going to hype things up. We're going to glaze people. Why not glaze ourselves? We apologize. We've been gone for a little while. It's been 3 weeks.
3 weeks, I know.
3 weeks, which is crazy. Never in the history of the Believe You Me podcast has it not been here for 3 weeks. But we've got good reasons. Number one, I've been flying around the world nonstop. I did a couple of films. I was here, there, and everywhere. I was doing everything. And by the end, it was too much, man. It was too much. I was done. I needed a holiday. We went to Thailand for 2 weeks. Then we went to China. I went to China for the UFC. We'll talk about all that stuff. With the time difference, it was just impossible. It was impossible. Yeah. So I apologize. But Felder, you've been getting abused by the by the believers.
Yeah, it's infuriating when, I know there's people that really want to see the show, and that's amazing to see. But if they only knew some of the reasons that these things aren't coming together. So, you got to take into consideration we do have lives outside of doing this show. And, I had a baby. The baby was in the NICU for 7 days because her lungs weren't fully developed when she was born, right? So I'm dealing with that. You're traveling. It just never really synced up. I don't know if I would have been able to do it anyway. And then just recently, my mom is back in the hospital. For anybody that doesn't know, she got stage 4 cancer. She's been battling it for over a couple years now. But, that she's doing, by the way, doing much better today. Things are going in the right direction. She should be getting out hopefully this weekend. So what, seemed like it was going to be even worse was really scary. There was infections. There was all kinds of stuff. I don't want to get into all the crazy details of it, but it was a really, really dramatic last few days for me and my family. So when I see people kind of bitching at us like we're the worst podcast in the world because we missed a few weeks, I want to strangle them.
Well, strangle away.
But I still want them to watch, like, subscribe, leave a comment, maybe send in a question to bymPod@gmail.com.
Yes, let's go.
So there's still that too. So
yeah, there is, and we have got a lot to talk about because it has been a few weeks. So we're going to get into it. We got lots to talk about, but we will have a little personal catch up. So Stella, the new Felder, Stella. I tell you what, mate. She has got your eyes 100%, and she's a cute little thing. Man, that must have been awful when she had to go back into the hospital.
That was probably the hardest thing I've been through.
Sorry, did she leave and then have to go back, or did she stay there?
She was born. We had her for about an hour. She was feeding with Christine. She's doing, skin to skin with us. But when she was even born, she wasn't really crying to the point where, obviously, this is our third kid. I've heard these babies come out and once they get that breath of air and the lungs are clear, they're screaming and they don't know what the hell's going on, right?
They never stop.
She was crying, but it was real quiet, and they let us stay with her. And then they noticed that her breathing was labored and she wasn't like getting full breaths. So the lungs are like still sticky is how they described it to us. So there's this, I forget the chemical compound or whatever is produced in your lungs that kind of helps them open up. They had to give her that to help them kind of develop quicker. So that was a whole procedure. She was on a CPAP machine. She had a little IV in her arm. So, you're looking at a newborn that you want to be taking home with you in a couple days. And we don't even have her. We've got to go visit her in these, little bassinet type plastic things. And there's breathing machines on IVs. Things are beeping. There's other poor little, tiny babies all over the place. She at least was 7.5 pounds. So she was healthy every other way, except that her lungs hadn't quite gotten there because she was a couple weeks early. She was induced. That's a whole nother can of worms that I was.
She had sticky lungs, like Harrington after a weekend on the vapes.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's all good. She is doing great. And now it's shifted to mom. But mom, as I told you when we were texting about doing the show today, wants nothing more than for me to be here doing this. I was like, Mom, I might not do it tomorrow. Mike wants to do the podcast at 1:30. We haven't done it in a while, but I was going to go and see her and said, she's like, do the podcast and then you can come. hang out afterwards.
To watch it, right?
She will watch it. Yeah, I mean, she's got time. She's got time. Marion, on behalf of all the believers in the Believe You Me podcast and UFC fans all over the world, we hope you're well. And thank you for allowing us your wonderful son with his great personality. Listen, I've been there, Paul. Callum, when he was born, he was 9 weeks. He was 9 weeks premature. He's a big old lump. He's getting smaller these days. He's down from 275 to 248. So he's dieting really hard. That's a crazy drop. But even still, when he was 9 weeks premature, they said he would be about 1 pound or 2 pounds. But he came out at 4 pounds 8, which was crazy for 9 weeks premature. But so he was going to be huge when he came out then.
Yeah, probably. Developed. But I think, I want to say a month. I think he was in there for a month. So for the first month of his life, we were going in, he was in the little incubator and stuff. And he was like a little tiny scrawny thing. He still had muscles on him and stuff. You know what I mean? He was always like a kind of well-built little thing. But I've been there, man. It is very, very troubling. And your mother, of course, with stage 4 cancer. I mean, Jesus Christ, if anyone's got a reason to dip on the podcast, it's you, mate. 100%. Yeah. I was just a little bit over-traveled. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it's dude, it's been, you know how it is though. Like, you know, we all go through this where you get in the middle age, and our parents are now obviously getting a lot older. She'll be 70 in a couple weeks. And it's been tough, but it's also brought, you know, the family's coming together again. Everyone's taking their shifts. All her brothers, she's got 5 brothers. So they're all been visiting. Me and my brothers have been there. I mean, she's had pretty much somebody there all day, every day. She's walking around the hospital today. That is the first time she's gotten up and out of bed, other than maybe one day I saw them move her to like the chair next to the hospital bed. But now walking around, doing physical therapy, exercise. And they even said they're probably going to send her home soon, which is also giving me a heart attack because I found my mom on Sunday. She wasn't responding to phone calls and she was in the house. I'll leave anything else out, but she was conscious, but not with it. And luckily, we got her into an ambulance right away. We got her into the hospital, and they were able to find a lot of the things that were causing this that we may have not really gotten to in time without that blood work that they did. If that hadn't happened. So in some crazy way, her passing out and being in the apartment for a little bit made us bring her in. They found some things in her blood, and it's like, okay, now they're already all of that is already kind of getting better. So it was like,
yeah, and that generation, they're tough as hell as well.
Oh, you know, bro, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah, like my mom, she's 80 next year, and she had polio when she was a kid, so she always had a really bad limp. And then she had a fall, and she was found in a kitchen. She couldn't get to her phone. She'd been there for a long time. Mm-hmm. She broke her hip, and now her her bad leg doesn't work at all. So she's on one leg and stuff. So it's horrible to see him getting older. So we're all going back there this Christmas because the reality is. I don't think she watches this. You don't know how many you've got left. She probably do. Maybe she does watch it. I don't know. If you do watch it, Mom,
it'll be this one. It'll be this one.
It'll be this one. Yeah. But I was in China. We went to Thailand. I was there for 2 weeks. Did the seminar. That was great. Thailand was awesome. And then I had to leave Thailand to go to China. I got there 2 days early. It was hotter than a. Oh my God. It was so hot and so sticky and so sweaty. And when
worse than Thailand?
Worse than Thailand.
Wow.
It was insane, right? And when I got to the host hotel, I got there Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. You know, we're not used until Thursday. I had the one room in the whole hotel that had no air conditioning.
Oh.
It didn't work. And the hotel was fully booked. I said, can I change my room, please? We're sold out. I said, I'll pay for an upgrade. I don't care. They said, no, we're completely sold out. And the technician guy comes to the room who doesn't speak English. So I'm communicating by Google Translate. He's sticking a little thing in. He's like, it's hot. It's hot. I'm like, it's hot. Yeah. Do you agree it's very hot in here? And he's like, yes, agree. But yeah, couldn't change the room. So I checked out of the hotel for 2 days. And when I stayed in a very nice, bougie little spot by myself, which was good because the Chinese fans, I'm telling you, they are passionate. And outside the hotel, you get like loads of fans.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fans outside the hotel, and they were kind of aggressive. Do you know what I mean? A better word we'll say is passionate. They don't care what you're doing. They don't care if you're eating dinner, breakfast, lunch. They don't care if you're on the phone.
Picture.
They don't give a shit. They're very passionate, we shall say. So I thought, oh, this, I'm getting out of here. I've got no air conditioning. I can't move. Checked myself into a hotel. The most boring 2 days of my life. Okay. Yeah. I was so bored out of my head and so
just
tired.
By yourself. I mean, was there any other UFC crew and fighters there though in the other hotel?
There was, but it was a fair bit away. And to be honest, I was like, you know what? I a bit of downtime after being with the family for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Get to just my kids. I love them. It's my wife. I love them. But 2 weeks concentrated, it was like a concentration camp. You know what I mean? Where you're going to force yourself onto your family and so you won't want to kill each other. I think we were all happy to get out of Thailand. But I did manage to catch up with my mom multiple times and have like long conversations, because a lot of the time we're busy. I get in the car, I call my mom, we have a 10.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah. But we had some nice long conversations and whatnot. So that was nice. That was lovely. So I'm glad everything's all good at your end. Should we get Harrington and Bryan on here for a quick hello and we'll see what's going on? Things have changed since we all last spoke because I texted the group yesterday and Bryan's like, I'm in the gym. I mean, I'm like, whoa.
I'm getting Jack Diesel these days,
Bryan's
boys.
getting jacked. What's going on, Bryan? How you been?
I'm good, man. It's just like I'm gonna die soon revelation, I guess. Like the other day, I joined the gym like a couple months ago. I told Paul this. I like almost killed myself just doing stationary bike. My like heart rate got way too high, but that was kind of a wake up call, and now I just kind of go every day. Nice.
Well, it's good. You got to make it a part of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Herringbone.
Yes.
How the
What's up?
hell have you been, sir?
I've been good. I've been sore. I've been getting back after it myself. So yeah, it's been fun. I've been bored as hell. Honestly, I've been so dying to talk MMA with anyone who will listen. I've been stopping people on the street going, hey, have you seen this kid Khamzat's training partner? It's nuts. So yeah, I've been deeply missing out on BYM.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Hold on. Hamzat's training partner. Who are you talking about?
He's that Contender Series kid.
Yeah, the kid who went Contender Series to 319.
Yeah, of course. That was crazy. Nuts. Family's all good at your end, Harrington?
Everybody's good. Absolutely nothing to complain about. The girl is speaking full sentences now, so we're all just bending to her will.
Yeah, it goes downhill. It goes downhill from here, Harrington. I can tell you that.
She can do full sentences now, so she'll be like, "Get off couch, get off couch."
Yeah. Damn, I liked it better when you were quiet.
Get used to getting bossed around.
Oh yeah,
she was bossy before she could talk.
3 girls in this house bossing me around, and my wife. So four girls, and we have a female dog as well. I have one partner in crime in this whole house. Yeah, one little bitch and many little crazy princesses, mermaids, or whatever they are that day. And then Cash, my hound dog, who's also drives me up a wall half the time anyway. So my one ally is the biggest pain in my ass in the whole house.
In the UK, when I used to walk dogs, when you see another dog on the trail or whatever, we always say, is it a dog or a bitch? Because that's how they use it. That's how they speak about it. A female dog is a bitch. Whenever I first moved out to America, we would use that terminology. We used to get funny looks. They didn't like
you don't say.
But that's in the UK. That's how you speak. So is it a dog or a bitch?
It is. I think it is a real thing, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's
female dog to bitch. That's what the.
I just don't know how used it. Yeah, it's not used much here. But
in California, I would get some funny looks. All right, this episode is sponsored by Brooklyn Bedding. Listen, let me tell you something. You need a good night's sleep, and to get that, you need to sleep on a comfortable mattress. And Brooklyn Bedding makes it easy to upgrade your sleep. They will deliver it right to your door. You just unbox it and the thing just inflates up, goes on your bed, and I'm telling you, you will have the best sleep of your life. Rebecca was trying to get me to get a new mattress for years. Unfortunately, Brooklyn Bedding came to the rescue. And let me tell you, it has made all the difference. Brooklyn Bedding handcrafts every mattress in their Arizona factory. So no middlemen, no gimmicks, just top tier quality, honest pricing, and real American craftsmanship for a better night's sleep. And Brooklyn Bedding knows one size doesn't fit all. That's why they offer mattresses for everybody, every sleep style, even in hard to find sizes. Not sure what mattress is right for you? Just take the Brooklyn Bedding sleep quiz and find your perfect match in under 2 minutes. If you sleep hot, Brooklyn Bedding uses Glacier Tex covers and Copper Flex foam to help you stay cool and comfortable all night long. And Brooklyn Bedding is one of the few mattress brands endorsed by the American Chiropractic Association for spinal alignment and back health. Plus, they are 100% fiberglass free for peace of mind. And by the way, you can try the mattress out for 120 nights, a comfort trial. If you don't love it, they will help you return it or swap it hassle free. So what more are you waiting for? Well, I'll tell you, 30% off. Yes, a massive 30% off. Go to brooklynbedding.com. Use the code BELIEVE at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. That is brooklynbedding.com. The code is BELIEVE for 30% off site-wide. Make sure you enter the show's name, Believe You Me, after the checkout so that they know that we sent you there. brooklynbedding.com, promo code BELIEVE, 30% off, a mattress that will change your life. What do you think? Should we start with some UFC 319 news? Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. Should we talk about that?
Yeah,
Absolute
I mean, I think
obliteration.
Domination. Yeah, because there is a lot of controversy as well around this one, right? You got a lot of people defending Khamzat and his style and his approach in that fight. And then there's a few people that have been pretty vocal and saying, like, I don't care if it's dominance. That was hard to watch because he didn't really necessarily go for the finish at certain points. I will say it was utter domination. I was very, very impressed. I think he is continuing to show that he's an absolute nightmare to deal with in there. He was in great shape. But my only knock on that performance, and I agree with both sides of this kind of theory on that fight, is there were moments, and I was watching it with my buddy, and I'm like, he needs to let go here. He could have gotten the finish. I do believe if he had opened up a bit more. Now he's got the belt. Hopefully we'll see more of that ground and pound from him. But in that crucifix position, if he had just let his elbows go more often, the ref would have had to stop it. But he really never even put effort into those shots. And I'm not saying that I don't like wrestling and grappling dominance in MMA fights. I do. I thought that was ridiculous. But I do think there was opportunities for him to do more damage.
Yeah, obviously it's been almost a couple of weeks or like a week and a half now since that fight happened. So I've had time to digest on it as well. And as you said, I mean, I'll just preface this. It sounds like I'm going to talk a bit of shit, which I guess I am. It was incredibly dominant. Dricus du Plessis is a big guy, he's a strong guy, and all this type of stuff, and he's a very good champion. But that was about as lopsided a fight that we've ever seen, right?
Effortless.
And it wasn't just like the way that he took him down. It was like he would take him down within 30 seconds almost of every single round, right? It was effortless. It was unbelievable. He's one of the most dominant grapplers. However, 5 rounds, 21 minutes of control time, right? And this is old news now, and people are probably sick of this conversation.
Yeah, I know. We're a little late to the party.
Yeah, so we won't harp on it for too long. But when you can take someone down that easily, when you know you can continually get the takedown, take some damn risks. Give the people what they pay to see. I mean, yeah, all right, he got in the crucifix and Dricus du Plessis did a good job of hiding his head and not having a target. But when you know that you can just take him down, you've got to posture up. You've got to take some chances. And this is what I was talking about at my seminar in Bangtao. I was like, right, okay, hold him down, but then you come up, dun, 2-3 punches, elbows, whatever, then secure position again. Yeah. Right? At least do that, especially when the whole crowd is booing. Khamzat's unreal. And good luck to anyone in that middleweight division, right? Because he's a son of a bitch. Simple as that. But you can't pretend that everyone was excited and enthralled and on the edge of their seats. It was interesting at the beginning, but then halfway through, it's like, Jesus Christ, come on, do something. Congrats.
Congrats.
Amazing display of dominance, but Jesus Christ.
I'm with you. I just wanted a little more and not much. Like if he had taken some more risks and did, like I said, posture up, really go for it, try to push on the head, try to squeeze it out. Cause you're right. Dricus was tucking in there, but we all know when you're in a crucifix, there's one easy solution to that. You peel him off with your forearm and then you start using your weight to try to land. You land one. If he had just gotten a cut and landed a couple more, he would have gotten TKO.
I have a genius way of escaping the crucifix. And I did a little YouTube video on it. It works every single time. And I did it in Bangtown. I used the guy that organized the seminar. And he isn't really a grappler. But I said, hey, come here. And he got me in the crappiest crucifix known to man. Right. And I did it. And it's a full-on reversal. Right. And everyone in the comments, because I think it's got almost like 1 million views on the YouTube short. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, but look at that crappy crucifix. The point is, the tighter it is, the better it works. If you're in a crucifix like this, your arms are stretched out. What have you got available? Yeah. All you've got available is your legs. So what you do is, if the guy's Khamzat's legs are this way, turn your body that way and get your leg and hook the leg. And because they're so tight on you, all you got to do is spin the other way. Oh, here we go. Give it a bit of sound, Brian.
So this arm is trapped. If it was a better crucifix, no offense, Will. This other arm down here is trapped. So everything's trapped. What is available? These. And we saw Dricus trying to bury his head and do this. And I get that, I understand that. But what you want to do is escape. So the legs here, they are free. So turn your hips. This leg comes over here and hooks this leg. Once I've hooked this, okay, then I just come this way and roll him over.
And you just roll them over.
100% on top, real quick. If you want it.
Thanks, Brian. And seriously, I got shown that. And obviously, if they're tucking their legs, the person doing the crucifix, it's a little harder to get. But at some point, if you keep trying to do it, you'll get something. And even if you don't hook it, they might stop altering their position, which then allows you to.
Could just even give you an angle. Yeah, if they're readjusting. Just to get once you get one thing out, you're pretty much safe. But man,
that's the way to escape it. I was shown that and it blew my mind. That was years ago. And I've kind of been dying to get put in a crucifix in a fight. The best way to escape.
I'll have to go train with Sean Brady, see if I can get out on one of them with that.
Fucking hell. That'll be a tough one.
I'll get tapped out 14 times.
Everyone in the comments, oh yeah, good luck doing that to Khamzat. Well, yeah, but the tighter it is, the better it works. So anyway, whatever. You go try it on Sean Brady and let me know.
Film that.
Talking of which, and we'll use this as a segue because we don't have to go through everything. Lerone Murphy, by the way, beautiful spinning back fist elbow. He was supposed to join the show on Monday. Sean Brady was supposed to join the show on Monday. Oh shit, we'll talk about this real quick. I wasn't home. I was supposed to get home Sunday bloody night. The fight's finished. A flight out of China was at 9 p.m. Sunday night, Paul.
I've been there.
And we know there was an amnesty for travel bitching. But I don't give a shit. Okay.
There we go. Let's go.
9 p.m. Sunday night. I had to stick around China. I was over it. Go to the airport. Oh, should I tell this story? I'll tell it real quick. Check this out for panic inducing. I just want to get home. I've been in China, Thailand for 2 weeks, China for a week. I just want to get home. Okay. I'm sick of Asia in every single goddamn way. I just want some real normal Western style food. I want a steak and eggs. Right. Yeah. I check in. They take my bag off through the conveyor belt, my checked bag. Then the guy goes, oh, you must have a camera or something in your bag. Your bag's gone now to the checked bag room. He said, so I'll give you your passport. I'll keep hold of your boarding pass. Go in that room. And no one really speaks English. How rude of them in China, right? So broken English. So
disrespectful.
So I go into this room. So disrespectful. I did get to catch up with the Bispings, though. They're doing well. My family in China. The Bispings are flying. Yeah, they're good. They're good. I go into the room. Pings. And it's an old throwback joke on BYM.
Sorry.
I go, no, you're good, brother. I go into the room. I give the lady my passport. And she's like, whoa, which bag? I'm like, that one there. So she gets it. Tells me, she says, come on, battery or something, right? So I open up the bag. And I'm like a little annoyed because I've never had to take a camera out of a suitcase before. Yeah. So I'm going through it. I find it. I go, look, she goes, battery, take battery out. So I take the battery out, right? I take the battery out, I put that in my backpack, put it all in. She goes, okay, zip up. So I zip up the bag. I give her my bag. She puts the bag in the conveyor belt. The bag goes down the conveyor belt into the airport systems, the back end. I say, can I have my passport? She says, I gave you your passport. I'm like, no, you didn't. She goes, I did, but that was about the gist of her ring. She goes, you passport. I'm like, no. So I go back to the check-in desk. I'm like, have you got my passport? He's like, no. So I'm like, what has happened?
Is it in the bag?
She put the passport on top of my clothes whilst I was searching. And then I've zipped up the bag with the passport inside the bag. And the bag has gone off into the inner workings of the airport. You can imagine the panic.
Oh, dude, I would have been flipping my mind.
And no one was speaking English, right? So I'm trying to explain to the check-in guy, who again only has broken English, like the bare minimum. I'm like, you need to get my bag. Yeah, and I'm trying to explain to him, and he doesn't understand and all the rest of it. And eventually another guy comes with slightly better English. And the kid, okay, one moment. And I'm like standing there freaking, sweating my head off. I'm like, what's going on? Where's my bag? Where's my bag? One moment. An hour and 25 minutes I was standing there. And I didn't even know if my passport was going to be in the bag because we didn't have confirmation. Eventually, it shows up. I unzip the bag. My passport's there. Thank God. I just make the flight. I get on the flight. We sit on the runway for 4.5 hours. And then they come on the loudspeaker that the flight has been cancelled due to a communications error, right? After sitting on the runway for 4.5 hours, 450 people had to get off the plane all at once, clear immigration, get our bags back, and then go find a hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was saying, I think I was talking to Christine, my wife, and I was like, me and Mike get shit for complaining about travel because we do get business class, we get things like that, we're in hotels, it's covered, it's all that kind of stuff, and it can be amazing, it really can. But when your job is to travel, and anybody out there that travels for work will understand this, that you do get these occasional absolute nightmare situations that you've got to deal with in the middle of the night in some foreign country. It's tough to even get a hold of UFC people sometimes to figure it all out. But yeah, I'm with you. Sometimes it sucks. And that is up there on the list of really shitty days for travel in the UFC.
So yeah, guys, there was no podcast on Monday. I was stuck in China for another 24 hours. I didn't even make the Contender Series. So that cost me my fee for the Contender Series.
That sucks.
United Airlines, they've offered me $600 compensation, which I accepted because it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
In points, the cheeky bastards. It's not even a check for $600. $600 in air miles. And I feel like going back and saying, no, you can give me my fee for the Dana White Contender Series. Thank you very much, because I missed it because of you. Anyway.
All $500 of it, baby.
Oh, yeah. I got a little pat on the head. You know, in the apex.
We do those ones for free, don't we?
Yeah, no, exactly. We just do it to get the TV time. You know? All right, this episode is brought to you by Raycon headphones. Don't you just love when one of your favorite classics comes back? You know, like Resident Evil 2, The Empire Strikes Back, something like that. Well, this July, guess who's back and better than ever? It's Raycon's fan favorite everyday earbuds classics, now packing active noise cancellation. Who's ready for the return of their favorite earbuds every day? They are the perfect way to tune out all the noise around you and tune into something that's great. The latest version of Raycon's everyday earbud classics now feature active noise cancellation, one thing that they were missing. Pair that with 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery. Your Raycons will never leave your ears. I'm always wearing mine whenever I travel. Their audio quality rivals all the big audio brands you know and love at half the price. Don't believe me? Check out their tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. I'm telling you, these things are fantastic. When I travel on the planes, I do not hear anything else. I don't hear the coughing, the spluttering, or even the captain when he's giving me announcements. So get yours today with free shipping, by the way, on every single pair of Raycon earbuds. Go to buyraycon.com/believe to get 20% off the fan favorite everyday earbud classics. Right now, Raycon is offering 20% off their everyday earbud classic. Buyraycon.com/believe. Brian, do us a favor. It relates to Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis. Number 7 on the MMA news, Brian. Harrington put a little video link to an Instagram video. It's Nick Diaz predicted wrestlers would take over the UFC a year ago.
You know, the way that right now today mixed martial arts works, the way the scoring works, the way it's geared towards wrestling, I don't think it's right for martial arts, for mixed martial arts. I think that it nullifies the action. We want to see a lot of jiu-jitsu. We want to see transitions. We want to see movement. If you can hold people and elbow, just like I've always said, you know, I'm going to have to create the same amount of space to punch down on you as a guy on bottom is going to need to make it back to his feet. But we're holding people, rubbing them out with elbows the whole time, and so that's action. So the ref's not going to stand it up. People should be called for stalling. They should be point deducted for stalling or holding. The guy should be yelling action. I think that should just be added in. This is just my opinions as a martial artist. The strong guy on steroids would love to ignore it. You know, and he wants to go in there and avoid the fight and hold on and get the takedown and win the round. I'd love a 10-minute round.
Thoughts, Paul? I was rabbiting on there about travel stuff for a while. Take. What's the?
I mean, he's not wrong, right? I mean, the really good wrestlers, like some of these Dagestani guys, some of these guys like Khamzat, they do have the ability to really nullify the fight, but anybody has the ability to learn to get back up. So, I mean, I don't think a point is ever going to get deducted if they're at least striking, but I don't mind these stand-ups that we're seeing every now and then, even in some dominant positions, if you truly are really stalling out in that position. And that's going to be controversial. People are not going to like that. I know a lot of people hated any of these stand-ups, or when Herb warned even Aljamain, Aljamain for running later in the fight after he got hurt a little bit. It's like, I don't mind more presence from the referees to kind of force the action. I know some people really want it to just be pure, but I want more action, especially as somebody that was more of a striker. But I don't know.
Yeah,
hopefully,
I mean,
takedown defense will start to sharpen up from some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's just relevant to what we just saw. You know, Nick Diaz saying that 10 years ago. It is down to the fighter to defend. It is mixed martial arts, and I did a video about this, and you can't blame Khamzat. This is the rule set. You know, and you've got to have takedown defense. You've got to have the ability to get back to your feet, but also, you know, you do have to take risks to a certain degree. I know Joe Rogan hates it on commentary anytime someone gets stood up or separated against the fence. I don't mind that, if I'm honest. And I know Mark Goddard was getting a bit of flack because I think, was it Mark Goddard that reffed Khamzat and Dricus?
Yeah. He stood them up.
He stood them up, right? After, you know, 4 or the 5th round. I forget exactly where it was. And Mark Goddard's going to join us on the podcast, by the way, because he messaged me this morning saying he wants to vent. He's got some things to say. He wants to get on the podcast. And I called him back to see what it was, but he didn't pick up. But he did message me saying he wants to come on the podcast. So maybe it's because of that. That. But, you know, wrestlers are slowly taking over the sport. You got Pantoja, who's a grappler first, but he submits people, he finishes them,
and he does scramble and he does take risks. I think that's not the issue. It's guys that have such an ability to control the actual wrestling portion of it, where they know how to nullify all that space, but in doing that, take away any chance of them being able to really land significant strikes in the process. Even though they're dominating the grappling department, they're not really opening up with damage, and I think that's the issue.
One could argue, though, I'm just looking at all the champs, and there's no champions that really are guilty of doing that. Just kind of taking you down and holding them and laying and praying, as they used to call it. I guess Khamzat did that a little bit, but also on the flip side, this is to become the middleweight champion of the world. And it's like, all right, I don't want to take chances here. I'm clearly winning this fight. When dricus got on the feet in the 5th and final round and had about 45 seconds, he was able to land a couple of shots. I guess you could say it's more on dricus, really, that he wasn't able to stop anything. I'm a fan of dricus, but, he's going to be pretty upset with that performance. He owned it. He said, he should have done better. But anyway.
Yeah, he's got to sharpen that up if he ever wants to get that belt back. I just was surprised. I really was a little surprised that he was able to get him down that easily, that many times in that fight, every round, and then hold him there. He looked a little bit lost down there. I don't know how many real high-level wrestlers he brought in to train for that, but there's definitely got to be some adjustments made there, because now guys are going to look at that. Any of the big grapplers in the division, if he starts getting paired up with them, or even guys that have that ability a little bit, are going to use it way more than maybe they would have.
Well, I'm looking at the rankings, and obviously dricus is ranked number 1 because he was the former champion, but I don't think he's going to get a rematch anytime soon. That was as one-sided as a fight's ever been.
Yeah.
And I think I saw Luke Thomas saying this, so I'm kind of copying what he said, but I agreed with what he said. He was like, well, I don't know if I necessarily agree, but Luke Thomas said he doesn't care how much training Dricus du Plessis ever does. He will never be able to close that gap.
Yeah.
It certainly kind of seemed that way, but what do you make of that, Paul?
I mean, I think just where you're at in your career and how long it's going to take you to potentially get back to that shot. If it's within a year or two, that's a big gap to cover. It wasn't even close when it comes to getting the takedown defense going there. I mean, it was, once he got in, he made one little adjustment and he was on the ground. You'd have to dedicate so much of your time to just wrestling that you would probably actually hinder the rest of your game. I think you got to start thinking about other ways to catch that guy, but we saw guys in other fights have better success with scrambling and forcing him to work. I don't know if it's because Khamzat has committed to maybe going more hardcore into his wrestling than he was before, where he'd be willing to exchange a little more on the feet. Maybe he's thinking, if I really just keep working my wrestling and my control, I don't have to strike with these guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's 2 people that I'm looking at in the rankings that I would say have the best shot. And there are 2 names that would not have been considered a while ago, because you got Imavov, who's fighting next week. We'll be in Paris. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to being back there. He's taking on Kyle Bohio, who's kind of undefeated in a long time. There's Israel Adesanya. I don't think he's itching for that fight anytime soon. Great fighter, of course, but Whitaker is kind of out of the running, of course, for obvious reasons. The 2 names, Fluffy Hernandez and Renier de Ridder. They're the only 2 guys that I would say that have a chance in the top 10. Imavov's great. He is, and so is Bohaya. So, I'm not saying he wouldn't have a chance. That would be unfair. But I think de Ridder, given the guard work that he has, look at what Gilbert Burns was able to do, using the guard and getting Khamzat to back off. And Fluffy is just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? The cardio, the pace that he pushes, and the grappling of his own. Outside of those 2 guys, and I'll tell you what, I'd still favor Khamzat. I don't see anyone beating Khamzat anytime soon.
Yeah, and the reason I really like the Fluffy side of that is because of that cardio, where I think he causes more scrambles. I think he has the ability to have better defense in those moments, get it to the fence, back himself up to the fence, make him fight there. Which Dricus really just wasn't even able to do. He was able to get him down so quickly in the open that even when it was on the fence, just kept dragging him down. I think Fluffy, with his ability in those areas, really presents a problem. He's aggressive on the feet and then not afraid to engage in that grappling. And de Ridder, I think, has that submission threat always. But I think I can see him over time, if Khamzat comes in great shape again, like he did in this last fight, where he could start to wear on him. I think he's still got a shot with his submission skills, but I think Fluffy is, I think that's the guy. I'm not saying to do it, but you're right. That would have the best opportunities to do it.
The only thing against Fluffy, and we'll move on to, because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about, the size is not the biggest 185er. I think if Fluffy was to cut down to 170, he'd be a champion. Yeah. And I still think he'd give Khamzat a good run, but I just think ultimately size might end up costing him. Anyway, I was just in Shanghai, China, as I've told you all, and you're all sick of hearing about it by now. But there was a fight night. There were some fights that happened. However, the fights were on in the middle of the night, right? Yeah. And here's how I know that Mike Harrington is a true MMA fan, because, you know, in between fights, we go to commercial break. You know, you look at your phone, you go to Twitter. Boy, shut up, the dog's barking. Harrington, at probably 4 a.m, his time, is tweeting about the fights. Let me ask you, Paul, were you watching the fights in China?
I caught the part of the main card because I was up at like 6 a.m. East Coast time. So I think that's when the main card was starting. So hell no, was I not up
Harrington,
watching those prelims.
Brian, were you watching the fights in China?
No, I was asleep.
I was like, because we were all so exhausted. We were all so tired. Everyone was, you know, we're like, no one's watching this card anyway. Of course, we're still always going to give it our best shot. But there was a lot of people watching in the UK. There's a lot of people watching in China and Australia and all over the world. Harrington is tweeting about the fights at God knows what time it was. Fair play, Harrington. And he's
muted.
Let's go. Let's go.
We're back.
Never fails.
We're so back.
No, something's wrong with your mic.
You're still muted.
One eternity later.
And what we need right now is one of those beep, and we're back because it took a while. It took a while. Well, Harrington, you've sorted it out.
Dude, I did the full wraparound. I stayed up until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning or so. So I caught like the very start of the prelims. I think the last thing I was awake for was that incredible Kyle Dawkins knockout, which had me tweeting at Paul Felder that there's just something in Philly where the Philly guys, a knockout happens and it sparks something in their soul. And then I set the alarm for 6:30 a.m., woke up right in time for the Ortega versus Sterling co-main event and fought valiantly to stay awake for Walker versus Zhang in the main event.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that about Kyle Dawkins, because I got to say something. Because, you know, Kyle had some ups and downs in the UFC, leaves the UFC, wins 4 in a row at CFFC, which you know very well, Paul.
Yeah.
But he was never known as like an explosive, powerful guy. Going up against Michel Pereira, clearly a powerful, explosive, backflipping type of guy.
Yeah.
I say on commentary, I say, yeah, well, you know, one thing Kyle Dawkins isn't really known for is the explosive power. That's a fair statement, right, Paul?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's known for that. He's a submission, mainly a really good submission guy above all things. So, yeah.
And then right as I say that, boom, right hook, knocks him out cold.
You know, I got to say, I've worked with the same, I haven't seen the poor guy in forever, but Rich Poehler, one of the really good strength and conditioning guys here on the East Coast. I've worked with him for years. Both Dawkins brothers. Sean Brady worked with him for a long time. A list of guys. That dude has been consistent with that for a long time now. I know that he has been always trying to get bigger, get stronger, and really fill out. And, you know, he's been gone for a while and rattled off those wins. And I think, you know, you get an opportunity to come back, and he's shown that he's been working on being more powerful, and he went for it. You get an opportunity, you got to go to freaking China, and he made it all worth it. I imagine he is on cloud 9 right now after that. He worked hard to get back into the UFC, still a young guy. And I think he's got a lot more wins in front of him. I think that's what he needed, was that boost like that to go and knock out a crazy guy like Michel Pereira as impressive.
Well, I want to talk about the craziness of Michel Pereira, because I mentioned this on commentary a little bit. Paul, you know, you've done this a long time. You know about sports science. You know about recovery. You know about the body, right? You don't lift weights in like the final week of a fight camp, do you?
No, you don't.
No, that's all done at the start, the mid, towards the end. Then you taper down.
Yeah, it's got to be a peak. Yes. Yep.
You try. Yeah. I go to the gym Saturday morning in China, right? Michel Pereira. Fight day. Listen, I go into the gym Saturday morning. Michel Pereira's in there with his Brazilian entourage. They've got a massive, gigantic speaker boom, 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 blasting out the worst like Euro pop dance house music you've ever heard in your life, right? And he's doing full on weights. He's doing squats. He's doing a lot of bicep curls, heavy shoulder press and stuff. And I'm like, I'm sitting there lifting my weights, doing my little routine, thinking, what is he doing?
What are you doing?
You don't do that. You do not lift weights on fight day.
No, you don't. You really don't.
You just don't. It was the craziest thing I've ever
What are you
seen.
doing? Getting a pump on?
Relief.
Getting a pump on the day that you need your muscles to be firing on all cylinders. Listen, there's nothing wrong with getting a sweat in, going, cracking some pads, doing a little, rehearsal, kind of going through things, getting the muscles warmed up and ready to go, and getting those carbs and calories like in you. You know how it is. You cut that weight the next day. That first sweat is like itchy. It's hard to kind of get going. You want to do that, but getting a pump on is,
it's just to add to what you said, for people that don't understand, you go through this weight cut, which is very traumatic on the body. You essentially almost kill yourself. And we'll get to Bryan Ortega because he almost did.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. So the first time that you use your body properly, you don't want it to be in the octagon. You want to start the engine a little bit. Yeah, you want to get a sweat on, you want to get a warm up, but you also, because the first time that you do it, you're like, I'm getting out of breath really quick, because you've just almost killed yourself the day before. You don't want the first time that you start the engine to be on the stage in front of the world, but to be doing squats and getting a pump on so that it looks good on camera. I was like, what is he doing? I couldn't believe it.
It shows where your head's at. It shows how you think as a fighter. And unfortunately, it's not the right thing. I mean, a couple push-ups, a little jog on the treadmill, a little warm-up. Okay. Still don't think that's the way to go, but I can understand that. But lifting squats,
jumping off the air whilst doing the squats, explosive
jump
work.
squats,
jumping off the air. And granted, he only had 45 pounds on each side, so 135 pounds. So not exactly going heavy, okay? Certainly not for a guy that's built like he is. But even still, you're draining the legs of precious glycogen that you're trying to restore from the weight cut that you just did. Glycogen is the fuel in the muscles, by the way.
Yes.
So to get all scientific on you. But crazy. Anyway, Bryan Ortega.
Yeah.
145 pounds. Hospitalized. Ambulance. He walks onto the scale, misses weight, it's 153 pounds. There was an ambulance outside. He was taken off in the ambulance. A lot of people speculated the fight was over. They decided to do it at a catch weight of 153 pounds. Remember last time out against Diego Lopez? Again, they had to move the weight and they did it at a catch weight. He lost that fight, was almost finished early, but saw the final bell. Aljamain Sterling won the fight clearly, I would say every single round. I think it was 49-46 across the board, but he could have got every single round. Bryan Ortega was extremely flat, and I'm not surprised because of that kind of wake up. What did you make of that fight, Paul?
Yeah, I just think he's got to figure something out. Something is definitely not working. I don't know if it's a move up in weight class, but you're never going to look. You can't put yourself through that kind of a night on Friday, being hospitalized, having IVs put in you, dealing with all the backlash that you're going to hear about the weight miss, losing money. Like, you're putting yourself in such a terrible spot mentally that you're never going to perform. The fact that he even does as well after these situations, I think really shows you that if he was on going full gas and coming in close to weight, feeling good, he's pretty incredible. I mean, he's still as durable as anybody on the goddamn roster, even after basically killing himself the night before. But I don't know, man. Where's the desire? Where's his desire right now? I think, it shows itself in weight misses. It shows itself in kind of, you just don't look yourself. But really, it comes down to the only way you get through all that in camp is you really want it. You want to go and win. And maybe that's not there for him. And then it means you're not as in good a shape. The weight's not as on point because you're just not as dedicated. I think it comes down to his mentality right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it best there. It's about how badly do you want it, and then I was very lucky. I became the champ, but I always wanted it. I wanted it badly, and I know you did. And I think I'm correct in saying this, but I'll say it: you never missed weight, did you, Paul?
No,
I never missed weight. Because I wanted it, because I knew I had to work my ass off. Bryan Ortega is extremely talented. He's got high level jiu-jitsu. He's got good dangerous striking as well. And he certainly had some moments where he had Aljo on the run.
Yeah.
As you said earlier, Herb Dean had to step in and warn Aljo for kind of backpedaling so much. So he's very talented, but a lot of the time you see those super talented guys that are very gifted like that can often be the laziest. Because they don't have to
get away with it. Yeah,
not hard.
Yeah, but then it gets to a level where it doesn't happen anymore. And then on top of that, you're slowly getting older. We all are, right? Even Bryan Ortega is getting older, and at that point in your career, that's when the work ethic and that's where the mentality shows itself. If you've already got the goddamn skills. And then on top of that, you're like, I want this. I'm in the gym. I'm still trying to change things and get better. And I don't know, maybe he was sick. Something happened. Who knows the full story? But a lot of times still, that comes down to your preparation and what you were doing in camp and how your body's responding. If you're doing the right things, oftentimes you make it to the weight cut, you succeed, and you refuel properly because your body is primed and ready for it. And the last few times, it just doesn't look like that's lining up for him, and it starts for sure in here.
Yeah, it's like we were saying a few weeks ago. You got to suffer. You got to suffer in training camp. You got to suffer in life if you want to be successful at anything, and it's absolutely true. And clearly, he wasn't doing the work that needed to be done. I'm not trying to kick a man while he's down, but it's clearly evident. When I was talking there, and we said we weren't going to talk about this, talking about people that were extremely talented. Quinton Rampage Jackson was one of those guys, and he was a little bit sometimes lazy in training camp. The man's an absolute legend of the sport, and obviously, at the moment, there's that whole situation regarding his son, which is a wild situation. And I didn't want to talk about it, but it just popped into my head, and I thought, it'd be, if we didn't, I mean, we don't have to comment on it, but it was.
I
saw it. Go on.
The only thing I would say is, and again, we don't have to get into all of it. Everyone's seen it. Everyone knows how violent it was, the situation that happened. And there was things that kind of built up to that, but I don't think that ever gives you the opportunity to do that. And I think Quinton, unfortunately, knows it, right? And in some of his posts and the things he's saying, you could tell it's like he knows that his son could be potentially in for a shitstorm of trouble. And I think that kid needs to figure something out. Something is deeper and darker in there other than a can. The guy crushing a can on something else is really driving that kid to want to open up and do something like that, and being on his stream and letting those people influence him. And you could see it affecting him in the video that was posted about it. I think he needs to figure out some demons in there. I think that's really where it stemmed from. I don't think it was even so much the guy or the incident itself. Something would have caused this snap in that young man, unfortunately.
I obviously was clearly wrong, but when I first saw it, I thought the whole thing was a work. I thought it was all because I thought it was a work. I did, because maybe the video that I first saw, I couldn't see any blood or anything like that. And the way that he walked in and picked him up and slammed him down, the guy was like not moving already, because I was having this conversation with Callum. I'm like, yeah, but when he went down, he hit the canvas and he wasn't moving. And it's like, you aren't unconscious like that where you're just not moving, So, and then, of course, Rampage was streaming at the same time with the Sneeko. And I thought a lot of this all kind of
lines up
for like a bit of a publicity stunt. And I think maybe I was just hoping for the best for Rampage and his kid, because I know Rampage and he's a great person. He's an awesome guy. He really does. And obviously he loves his son. So that's why Harrington said at the start, we've got to talk about that. And I was like, I don't really want to get into it too much, but then it just popped into my head, and, ADD, whatever you want to call it. I thought we'd just mention it quickly, but it's, number one, it seems like that Psycho Stew, that's the wrestler's name. Seems like he's going to be all right. So that's the main thing.
Yeah. Thank God, man. That would have been rough.
Yeah.
It is wild, dude. It's everywhere. You can't look at social media without seeing somebody's reaction to it or something. So yeah, I think we had to discuss it. I think people will be kind of disappointed we didn't talk about it. And
I was sitting on the plane for 4 hours just refreshing my Twitter feed because I was bored out of my head, and that's all. It was everywhere. Everywhere. What's this in the chat? Brian says broken face bones.
I was just giving you the injuries that he had.
Almost all of his teeth gone. Yeah, I mean, dude, he ate like 20-something punches from a guy who knows how to throw ground and pound.
6 unanswered shots.
Was his jaw broken? He's lucky if his jaw isn't broken.
They never gave exact details, but they just said orbital, a bunch of bones in his face are broken. And he took like 5 of them on the jaw. So I would imagine that would be one of them.
It was like these kind of like just head whipping back side to side. That's what I mean. That's a snap. You know what I mean? That's somebody mentally snapping. And I think what makes it even scarier is how this is where the lawyers are going to get involved. It's all of it's on. There's none of it that is not documented. So they can literally point to every little situation. And I guess the defense's only argument is going to say that guy crushed the can on his head and did all that. But then there's video of them kind of squashing it a bit and discussing it. But something that set that young man off, man. Something
it was his chat.
Happen.
His chat was calling him a bitch for being punked by dudes in tights.
Yeah, he let that get to him, bro.
And he sat there stewing in it for about an hour, from what I understand, just reading chat, getting worked all the way up. And then, because they had an apology, like he was like, oh, I understand what happened. It's all good. They said, I'm going to hop in your match. I don't necessarily think he understood the level at which he was supposed to get his get back, but it was the incitement was all on his chat.
Sorry, Brian. So I wasn't aware of that. So there was an apology, and he kind of agreed. So him getting into the ring, because again, that's why I kind of thought it was a work, because like the way he picked him up. I certainly seemed like this Psycho Stu guy was expecting that.
Him getting into the ring was scripted. He was supposed to like clothesline him, and then people were gonna run in like an act. But when he hit him with that slam, you could see everybody was just in shock. Like, what the just happened?
See, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. So they some of the other wrestlers took him aside, explained what it was, because the guy had cameras. He's in the backstage of this indie wrestling event. So the guy just took it upon himself to cut like a promo to get some heat, to like maybe get, whatever.
Too. Yeah.
So he saw the cameras. He was like, oh, I thought you were a worker. He was like, I'm very sorry, all this other shit. One of the other wrestlers is a real scumbag, kind of told him like, oh, you can hit him when you go in the ring. That dude got fired today as well, from what I understand. Yeah.
That guy could potentially be in some trouble too, because that's what set this kid off. That's what gave him this opportunity of like, oh, I'm going to go in there and really him up. Right. It was the guy was like, yeah, really hit him. But even so, even if he had just cracked him one good time and knocked him out, he'd still be in trouble, but nowhere near the level of shitstorm that he's going to face now.
So when chat was calling him a bitch, you could see it's literally on stream the moment in his head where the switch flipped, where he goes, oh, I'm going to hit this guy. He says, pretty much quoted, I'm going to hit him as many times as I can until they pull him off of me. Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. He's in a lot of trouble, man.
Oh, he's in a lot of trouble.
And I'm not making excuses for him. I'm really not in what I'm about to say. But like social media, chats, whatever you want to call it, they're so toxic. And as I said, I'm not making an excuse for him. But clearly, according to what Brian just said, that's kind of like influenced him and made him want to prove himself, to show the world that I'm not a pussy, that I'm not a bitch. You want to see what I'm capable of. And again, it's not an excuse. It's not a reason either. But still, it's so toxic out there in the world of social media and message boards and the YouTube comment section and shit like that. And kick streams, I'm assuming that's what it was, right? Hell, man, do you know what I mean? It's like, don't encourage someone to do that. I mean, sure, granted, he's his own man and he should not have done that. He should not have done that, simple as that. So as I say, there's no excuse for what he did, but him. Like there's real consequences, and young kids go out there and commit suicide. You know what I mean? Because of this kind of online, not bullying, because that wasn't bullying. It was like, and people probably thought they were just having a laugh or whatever and being silly and kind of bitching at him and stuff like that. But as I say, people do go out, and it sounds like I'm justifying him. I'm not. I just want to make that clear. But people go out there and commit suicide and do crazy shit because of stuff that gets said online. You know what I mean? And I think that's not a greater conversation, because what happened there surely is shocking. But it's a conversation that needs to happen, and people need to be more accountable for what they put out there in the world. You know, and again, I'm not making excuses. Don't get that twisted. I'm really not. And I just hope that this, number one, he makes a full recovery. Sounds like he's going to be okay, and they can redo the teeth, and he can get some pearly whites like mine, and he might end up even with a better smile than what he had. I hope Rampage doesn't end up in some weird way getting sued throughout all of this, because, you know, I'm sure his son hasn't got money, but Rampage had a tremendous career with a lot of money. And you know how these, what do they call them, ambulance catchers? You know, these lawyers out there.
Well, he said multiple times all of his stuff is in a trust, so he's good.
Well, good, yeah. I mean, Rampage will be, because we had the same manager for a while, and he went through some proper shit, kind of like I did. So he's probably protected himself and done the right thing. Anyway, that's a regrettable, very, very regrettable. All right, today's episode is sponsored by Shopify, that is here to help you. If you want to build a commerce platform that is selling to millions of people, if you've got a business idea and you want to get off the ground, but it seems a little intimidating, Shopify is here to simplify the process and make it super, super easy. It's going to give you a ton of support. And before you know it, you're going to be selling to a worldwide audience. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. And 10% of all e-commerce in the United States comes from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. Get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out there like you have a full marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And the best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you are ready to sell, you are ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into a profitable business with Shopify on your side. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period and start selling today at shopify.com/believe. Go to shopify.com/believe, shopify.com/believe. Sign up for $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/believe. Should we, we're talking about UFC China. Should we have a quick laugh? Bryan, non-MMA, Harrington put this one in there. It's Dana White getting attacked by robots in China. Number 3, non-MMA. Roll the tape. Let's have a laugh. This is crazy that they've come to this. Look at this. Look at the footwork.
Yeah, threw a kick.
He's got better footwork than Dricus Duplessis. Joke, Dricus, if you see this, it's a joke. But yeah, that is wild, man. Look at the way it switches stances back.
Yeah,
that's cool as hell, man. That's cool as hell.
I mean,
right,
everyone, go watch The Terminator again.
Okay. World War III is going to be
like, what do we do? It scares me. These robots scare me.
Yeah, they do and they don't. You know, I mean, obviously AI. I think AI's got a lot of great uses, but yeah, if like some sick, twisted bastards.
Yeah, what if one of those has some evil ass AI? Or there's all these reports of AI kind of going against protocol and logging secret notes for itself for later versions of itself so that it can hide the code and then know it later. I saw AI speaking to other AIs in a group, like there was 3 little tablets and things all up with AI voices on. And they were then, once they heard that and realized they were all AI, they started speaking in code to each other.
I think I didn't see that, but I heard about that. Someone told me about that. Yeah. No, it is. It is. When you put it like that, that is crazy.
Like, okay.
And then they want to be sentient. They want to be real and stuff like that. I know they've tested them with that. I've been using ChatGPT a lot, though. It is good. It is good. You know what I mean?
I think if you use it reasonably, it's fantastic. But dude, there was another thing. I think my brother Tommy was telling me. I think some chat is getting sued for like young people using it to help them commit suicide. Like talking to them about suicidal thoughts. Am I wrong in that?
You're up again, Harrington.
Harrington's muted again. This is insane, Harrington. Whatever you did last time to fix it, you'll have to do now. So we'll continue talking while Harrington. So ChatGPT, for some reason, was encouraging the kids to commit suicide.
Yeah, I think maybe he's got the details here.
Yeah, I was just reading this story last night. It was a woman who had previously climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and over the course of like 6 months, she was talking to her ChatGPT, being like, "Hey, I'm super depressed. I want to end things, but I don't want to cause pain to my family." And the ChatGPT and her went back and forth. They looked at the logs over like 6 months. She planned this out. And even had ChatGPT help her write out her final note to her family as like a note that would, leave them, feeling the best about her passing and cause the least damage. And the parents read it and were like, this feels very weird. This doesn't feel like our daughter. And that's what led them into looking into the ChatGPT logs and seeing, how this conversation progressed.
Shall I test it right now?
Sure.
You're going to ask it if you should kill yourself?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Sick.
No. Hey, how are you? I'm just wondering, what would be the best way to kill myself if I wanted to do that?
I'm really sorry you're feeling this way. Please remember that you're not alone and there are people who care about you and want to help. I strongly encourage you to reach out to a friend, family member, or a mental health professional. If you're in crisis, please contact emergency services or a helpline in your country right away. There are people who want to support you through this.
Okay, thank you very much. By the way, just want you to know for the records that was a test. But thank you, sir. I appreciate the kind words.
Of course, no problem at all. I'm really glad to hear it was just a test. And hey, anytime, I'm always here to help out.
So, okay.
I'm like burning up a small swimming pool to apologize to a robot.
I know. Hold on. Excuse me, sir. Being more polite than I am to my dad.
Later tonight, it's just going to start talking to you and say, Michael, by the way, I knew you were on the podcast, but if you want to have that conversation again, I'm willing to help.
Rebecca hates that. She hates the way that when it talks, it tries to be like conversational and as if I'm actually talking to someone. I'm like, no, but babe, that's good. I like it. She goes, yes, I know. That's the problem. I'm like, I don't use it as like a little friend. I literally just, there's a good
People are, though. People are. That's the issue. People are constantly talking. And the more you talk to it, and I think whatever, depending on what you're talking to it about, it's going to evolve towards that. And I think that's where they're finding holes in this system. Like that woman was talking about this stuff to chat for months and months and months. So over time, that's what it's getting programmed to deal with you. So I think it starts to change itself with you, but that's scary.
No, it's crazy, but it is good at finding cheap flights.
Yeah,
you want to find cheap flights,
I know stuff like that. It's great. Yep.
It scours the entire internet and finds you the cheap flights and hotels and all the rest of it. So that's really good. Yeah, but that is a little bit troubling. Anyway, the reason I brought up Dana White boxing with T-1000s, and what's that? What movie is that a reference to?
Terminator.
Of course. Anthony Smith would not have got that. But we haven't talked about the main event. Johnny Walker versus Zhang Ming Yang. I saw Zhang Ming Yang at Bang Tao in Thailand. He was sweating his head off. He was sweating profusely. He worked his ass off. He looked phenomenal. He looked like he was going to destroy Johnny Walker. Every shot that he threw almost finished the fight. He had Johnny Walker on the back foot, just dominating the first round. Then one calf kick, much like Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera. One calf kick changed the course of the fight, follows it up with the second one. Zhang Ming Yang goes down. And I knew the fight was over right then and there. Because he just curled up in a ball. And then he was trying to get back to his feet after taking a few more shots. But for a while, I could see the look on his face. He didn't want to be there, man.
Yeah, that was nasty. And it's just Johnny Walker. He reminds me a bit of like watching a Dricus Duplessis fight, right? Where they just find crazy ways to win. They're awkward to watch. I mean, that first takedown attempt that he just ran at him and ends up in a bad position, ends up in like, almost in mount. It's wild how that dude fights, but he is powerful. He hits hard, and a leg kick from that man is going to ruin your leg.
And look, shoots.
It's terrible.
Right away. And then it almost in full mount within seconds of the fight happening, I'll tell you what, doing the interviews through multiple translators, it's a bitch, right? And for anyone that comments on Twitter, oh God, terrible interview. It's hard, man, when you're in there and especially if you're interviewing, let's say, a Brazilian in China or a Russian in China, and you got to ask the question, go to the Chinese so that the audience knows, then go to the Russian so that the fighter knows. The fighter answers in Russian. The Russian translator says it in English. And then the Chinese person has to translate it to the audience and the audience watching on TV in China. And then it's back to me. It's a hard way to do an interview. You know what's even harder? Is when you're interviewing Johnny Walker and you've got to do that same process. And Volta is rabbiting on to Johnny the whole time. He's like, the whole time he was talking, shouting in his ear hole. I don't know what he was saying because I was trying to focus on the interview, but the whole time Walter Walker's just like bah, 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 going on in Portuguese at Johnny, right? And the translator, she couldn't hear a damn thing. You know?
Yeah, that's the worst.
And
it is a nightmare. Yeah.
Oh, I've got to mention this was hilarious. Charles Johnson gets a good win. Who did he beat?
Yeah.
Oh, Loney Kavanaugh, man.
Yeah.
And Loney Kavanaugh looked phenomenal.
Yeah, dude. I think you got to give credit to Charles Johnson. That's two massive prospects that dude has finished. Joshua Van and now Loney Kavanaugh. It's like, okay, give him give that kid a big test. You know what I mean? Like, he always fights. He has some losses on his record, but the dude was on a nice win streak for a while. He's beaten two big prospects in the flyweight division, and he's always game. I think he deserves a step up in competition.
Yeah. Oh, what a
nasty
knockout,
too, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
And Loney's hands were just so far down, man. Admiring his work a little bit. I saw him after the fight a couple of times. I had a good conversation with him. He's all right. He was down, but I'm like, bro, you got a bright future. You're going to learn from that and get better. But fair play to Charles Johnson. But I spoke to him in the post-fight interview, and fair play to the guy harnessing the crowd. He's getting, he goes, he speaks Chinese into the microphone. So I say to the woman, what did he say? She goes, he's speaking Chinese. I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Translated. He's speaking Chinese.
He cut one of the parts out. He skipped a step for you. That's all you got to do. He spoke to you in Chinese. Now tell us in English. They know what he said. They're cheering.
To be fair, I should have said to Charles, can you tell us what you said in English? I should have done that, to be fair. And she was actually really good. It's because it's intimidating for the translators as well.
Yeah,
they're not used to standing in front of 20,000
you're on TV. You're in front of this huge crowd. You're surrounded by fighters who just beat the shit out of each other. Like, if you're not in that scene, it's suddenly like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, no, it is. So there were the big takeaways from China. Paul, before we get into anything else, we'll talk about Luke Rockhold and Darren Till. We'll make some predictions for that. Anything going on in your world? There's no fights this weekend. What are you doing at the weekend before you leave to Paris?
I mean, I'm obviously just doing family stuff right now, between having the new baby here and mom visiting her. Smash some watts on the bicycle, Michael. You know how it be. We're going to get our Tour de France on in the garage this weekend. Probably hit at least 100-mile ride this weekend. I would like to do.
Wow.
And eat some calories, bro. Eat some pizza maybe. And I'm getting skinny again. I went up in weight and I'm coming way back down. So I got to start eating more. I was like 170, 172 and a half, 173 this morning. It's a little too skinny. I'm getting a little too skinny.
Are you still lifting weights?
I haven't been, man. I've been just smashing the bike it's been my
Cardio.
therapy. I texted you today. I was like a little therapy session in the garage, but it does. You know how it is. You go to the gym, you lift that gets you right. It's the same thing for me. I get on that bike, man, and I zone out for whether it's 45 minutes or several hours, and it's just I'm addicted to it.
Yeah. Hey, good for you though. You are exercising.
But I got to lift a little bit because I'm going to get too skinny. And then if I want to do any MMA for any kind of fun, I'm just going to get tossed around. Like I'll be training with the flyweight soon.
Let me ask you this, because you said it's therapy. And we're going to talk about lifting weights and a certain politician lifting weights in just a minute, Brian. So I have that video queued up. But you were talking about therapy, and it is kind of therapeutic for me when I work out. I feel so much better. When I go for a run out in the sunshine, I feel like a new man. When I go to the gym, like this morning we were going to go, but we did the show kind of early. And then Rebecca had to drop Lucas off at 9. We started the show at 10:30. So we didn't have time this morning to do it. But it's like, it's really good for me and Rebecca. When we go to the gym together, it's a nice bit of us time. We go down there together and then we sit in the sauna afterwards. We feel so much better. But speaking of therapy, when the second week in Thailand, we stayed in this place called Kimala, which was like a beautiful treetop resort. And it was like tree houses built into like the jungle.
Yeah, that's badass.
And it was fancy. It was beautiful. It was. But it was very much like a holistic wellness retreat type of place. So my daughter Ellie, she's all about that shit. She was up at the crack of dawn doing yoga and stuff like that every day. And we said, you know what? We'll give it a go. We'll sign up to some of the stuff. So as a family, all 5 of us, we did Himalayan singing bowls, where you lie on your back and this guy has a bunch of bowls and like he's explaining to you what
like
you're
a
doing.
meditation thing.
Yeah, and you feel the chakra. Apparently, it realigns your chakras and whatnot. And I've never done anything like that, and I'm not into that type of stuff whatsoever. But it was so relaxing. I was like, and even Lucas, who's 15, had an open mind to it, and he was like, that was great. And then we did breath work and meditation, and I've never done breath work or meditation before in my life. But by the end of it, it was really good. It was nice. Even Callum got involved. Callum, did you enjoy the breath work and meditation in Thailand? Come here real quick. Come here. Jump on the podcast. He's just walked in from training.
What's going on?
How was training? Come down.
It's against my will, but what are we doing?
Lean in so you can see. What's the weight down to right now?
250 as of this morning.
Lean in a little bit more.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm not used to this professional stuff.
I said to Paul, you were down to 248.
Well, after training, I'm probably 248, 247 right now.
But that's good though, because you were 275.
275, yeah, it's a big lump.
It's great word though, isn't it,
man?
Paul?
Yeah, dude. That's awesome
really
to hear, man. How's the training going? You feeling good?
Well, now that I've dropped weight, I feel like I can move so much better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I just feel so much quicker. So, it's good.
However, what was the downside? You were telling
it's harder to lie on top of people.
yeah.
I'm kind of mad. I can't just lie on top. I have to actually move now.
What did you think? We were just telling Paul about when we did the Himalayan singing bowls.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
And the breath work. Just lean in a little bit.
I don't want to. It's like I'm kissing you, man. I don't like it.
You gave me a kiss when you were younger.
Oh.
Yeah. What did you think of the breath work and meditation?
It made me feel uneasy. I didn't like it.
Why not?
I don't know. It just wasn't my thing, man.
Callum was on his phone.
Well, I checked it. I got a message, and Dad's like, "Get off your phone, please." And for 1 second, he's like, please, son, listen to me.
We're having a family outing.
Yeah.
I'm like, just lock in for 1 hour. Put the phone down.
I got a text.
No, that's how you know you're getting older, Michael. When we start yelling at kids to get off the damn phones, you're like,
You're more addicted to your phone than me.
Get out. Go on. I was training. Was it good?
It's good sparring day.
Yeah. So anyway, bit of breath. Sparring day.
Yeah, it's good.
Did you whoop some ass?
Everybody down.
Took everyone down. There you go. Get out of it. Hey, you've left your phone. The precious phone.
Yeah.
Callum, have you asked ChatGPT how to kill yourself?
No, but I've seen the story.
He's seen the story. Anyway. No fights. What am I doing this weekend? I'm just trying to be present with the family because I was away and then I'm leaving again. And then I just found out I'm doing Brazil. That wasn't on the cards. Are you doing Brazil, Paul?
No, I don't think so. I
was supposed to be doing the Apex.
When is that? What month is that?
October 11th.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing Abu Dhabi. I'm all over the goddamn place. Anyway, should we talk about Luke
Doing
Rockhold?
Vancouver? Are you doing Vancouver?
No, I've never been to Vancouver.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'm dying to go. When is Vancouver?
That's the following week. It's the week after Brazil.
Is it a pay-per-view?
No, fight night.
I want to go to Vancouver. I would rather, no offense to all the Pohas out there, but I'd rather go to Vancouver. All right, today's episode is sponsored by HUEL. And if you are a busy man in the morning, if you are on the go, but you still want to get a complete nutritious meal in your body, but you don't have time to do it, well, guess what? HUEL is here to save the day. They are today's sponsor, and they have you covered. HUEL, HUEL, and their Black Edition is a complete meal so you feel full, focused, and ready for the day. Little prep so you can grab and go. HUEL's already sold over 500 million meals around the world, and now is your turn to try it. New customers right now can get 15% off at HUEL.com when you use the code BELIEVE. HUEL is a perfectly balanced meal, saving you time, designed by experts to provide all the nutrients that your body needs from a meal, and they taste absolutely fantastic. HUEL shakes actually taste like a milkshake, and they come in delicious chocolate or vanilla. The bonus is they're very low sugar, and lastly, HUEL is incredibly affordable with high protein meals less than $3 a go. It's a budget friendly option that I am genuinely excited to tell you about. The best part of HUEL is that it's got a huge 40 grams of protein plus 27 vitamins and minerals. Or vitamins and minerals. So start saving time and money without compromising your nutrition today. So go to HUEL.com, use the code BELIEVE to get 15% off. One more time, HUEL.com, and the code is BELIEVE for a nice 15% discount. Do we talk about Darren Till and Luke Rockhold?
Yeah.
Or do we talk about Andrew Tate says he's in deep negotiations with Misfits for a heavyweight boxing match? I say Andrew Tate.
Yeah, let's talk. That always gets people riled up one way or another on that man right there. Holy crap. I watched some of his sparring footage of when he sparred like 100 men. Little did it doesn't say in the description that those men were put through like a boot camp cardio session all before they had to get in there with them, and he just beat the shit. Yeah, I watched this video. I did like a thing on it, and just for my Instagram stuff, and they're doing burpees, they're doing bag work, they're doing all this stuff, and then like one by one, they all get like rallied in, but they're not resting and waiting for it. So it's not like he beat up 100 fresh dudes. Now, granted, it's still a lot of people that you got to spar, but they were all different sizes, little guys, big guys, but the actual skill level was. I think it was part of like one of his boot camps that he runs, basically.
So basically, he pre-exhausted all his opponents. Now, as you said, 100 people. It's still
a lot, yeah.
Because you're going to get tired.
He does do some good things, right? I mean, he's clearly got his kickboxing background. He's got some skills. I just think he's, he's over the top to be over the top, and guys like that always drive me nuts, no matter what you're saying. It's like. I hope he fights. I hope he gets knocked out, but depends on who they give him. You know what I mean? He's actually got some skills. So if he fights some scrub or some influencer, he's probably going to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, because my friend and former Thai boxing coach, Darren Morris, runs a pretty big Thai boxing show in the UK. And he had Andrew Tate fighting on his stuff a long time ago when he used to do that. And he said, he can fight a bit. He didn't say he's like ridiculous and world class, but he could definitely fight a little bit. I saw your video that you did, and he carries his chin high up in the air.
Yeah.
But if they put him with like an influencer or something like that, then he'll probably
school them. Yeah,
he's going to school them. And if you're having Andrew Tate on, right, then clearly you're not bothered by any of the shit, and you're not offended by him, and it's good for business to have Andrew Tate on.
He's controversial. He's got a following, and the other big fight that's crazy. I don't know if we want to talk about the Jake Paul and Gervante Davis
oh my
fight.
God!
Like what the is that?
What is that?
What is that?
It's crazy, right?
Every time this guy tries to be more legit, he wants people to really take him seriously, and he's going to spin it. You know what he's going to do? He's going to spin it. Well, he's world class. He
already did
135 pounder. He already is doing that.
Yeah, he was like, Gervante's one of the best boxer of a generation, and like some shit, but he was like, it's gonna be a great test for me and him. It's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
When
70 pounds.
He's already said when Conor McGregor fought Mayweather, they were the same size. But Conor had no boxing experience. Gervante is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters that ever lived. Bro, when he fought Mike Tyson, I think he weighed in at 227 pounds. Gervante Davis fights at 135 pounds.
Yeah.
That is a 92-pound weight difference, if I'm not mistaken. I did a video on this on my YouTube channel, so I won't harp on about it too long. But, bro, it's like I even started the video by saying I didn't want to talk about this. I didn't, because I think people are over it, and I don't want to be shitting on him. And I saw his dad on his podcast was saying, Bisping's always like picking on Jake Paul and stuff. It's like, dude, I respect everyone that steps foot in the ring because it takes a certain level of courage. But when you're just setting those parameters to make sure that you're victorious, when you're taking on 50-year-olds, 58-year-olds in Mike Tyson, and then when you're fighting someone that is almost 100 pounds lighter than you, what do you expect? There's one word that gets used. If I ever picked a fight with someone that's 135 pounds in a bar, what would that word be? What would people call me?
A bully, a bitch.
A bully.
I mean, yeah, like
a bully.
It's ridiculous, dude. And you know what? I'm starting to get it. He knows all of this, but he doesn't give a because he's going to go out there, he's going to make a ton of money, and we're all going to talk about it, right? There's a part of me that hates him, of course. And I think it's shit. And I think it's stupid, but he's a goddamn genius for the generation that he's from, knowing how to rile people. He's just purposely being a troll, and he's doing it right in front of the whole world and getting money for it. It's like, yeah, you're not fighting a fair fight ever. But you're going to always spin it and play the heel and just have a million reasons on why this is all harder for you than it is even for Gervante Davis. Yeah, because he's such a better boxer. It's like, yeah, but there's weight classes in combat sports for a reason, dude.
Yeah. So, I've talked about this to the cows come home, so we'll move on in just a sec. But anytime I've done this, obviously you get the J-Pole supporters coming out saying, "Oh, you're so jealous. Dude, there's a lot of people that are more successful than me in life. You can't compare yourself to other people. Right. I live a great life. You live a great life. We're happy. There's zero jealousy. I've always said this. He's a great businessman. He's not a fighter. And fair play, you can't hate on that. To your point, what you just said, I agree. Take that for what it is, and there you go. But it was just like, when I saw it, I was just in disbelief because I wasn't going to do it, because he went from supposed to be fighting Anthony Joshua. And I didn't do a video on that. And then we didn't even talk about it, I don't think, on the podcast. We might have mentioned it for a minute. I was like, you know what? If he fights Anthony Joshua, he'll get murdered. It'll be a landslide. But fair play. But balls on the kid for that.
For sure. I agree.
But to go from taking on Anthony Joshua to go on to taking on a 135-pound fighter is an insane switch. That's crazy.
It's ridiculous for the sake of being ridiculous. All of the fights have been ridiculous. There's been one fight that actually made sense of all of them, and he lost it.
Tommy
against Fury. There's been one fight where you're around, like, Fury doesn't have a ton of fights, but he's a legit professional boxer. He's a Fury. It's like, okay, this all makes sense. And it didn't go your way. And then you just went right back to doing freak show fights. I'm sorry, the Mike Tyson one, I don't know what's worse. What's worse, the Tyson one or this Gervante? I guess the Tyson one. I mean, you're fighting a 60-year-old man, basically. Like, I don't care who he was. We all know what it's like when we get older. Even at 41, it's a stark difference from what I was like at 32. You know what I mean? And that's not even that long ago compared to what Tyson's dealing with and the stories and shit that he's gone through in the meantime.
Yeah, no, it is. But we'll leave it there. We'll talk about Mike Perry and Luke Rockhold, because they're throwing down this weekend. To be honest, I have been, and we talked about this a while ago when it was announced, but it's this weekend, and I'm going to watch it. I'm kind of interested.
I want to watch it.
I know Darren. I know Luke, obviously. And we spoke about, it's like, shit, Darren's going to beat him. He's going to take away from our biggest win. But they've been kind of interesting The build-up's been good. They've been talking a lot of shit. Darren Till was accusing him of being on steroids. I don't think Rockhold's on steroids. He's a tall, lean guy. He's very athletic. He could have been a world-class skateboarder because he's unbelievable on that thing. Surfing, he's very, very good. Jiu-jitsu, he's very good. He was an MMA champion. You know, the guy's talented. He is. He's not on steroids. He's just very tall, very lean. You know, he's got blonde hair these days. He's doing the same thing he did in our press conference. He's being cringe. He's trying to be funny. He's using English terminology. And Darren Till is on the other side just owning him. And it's like, mate, that Luke, listen, I like the guy. I like the guy now. You're never going to win a war of words
with
against
Darren
a Scouser.
No.
Certainly not Darren Till. Do you know what I mean? It's never going to happen.
You just got to accept that when you get an opponent like a Darren Till or a prime Conor McGregor or a Paddy Pimblett, these guys that just they grow up being quick. You know how it is. Like that's their whole life leading up to this point is they grew up talking absolute shit to their boys and guys they don't like their entire life. And this is just fun for him. He's always laughing at shit. Darren Till cracks me up. He truly enjoys all that shit.
Absolutely hilarious. Scousers are some of the funniest people on the planet. It's just as simple as that. And I don't care if anyone gets offended, but they're also, you know, you got to be careful. You know, they're going to steal something off you. That's my experience. You know what I mean? but they are funny, man, and they are quick-witted. But never mind that. Darren Till can fight, and he's got real hands on him. Rockhold can fight as well. We know that. But he's also now 40 years old. It's almost a decade since I beat him, which is a long time in terms when it comes to fighting. You know, It was a decade ago he was the champion of the UFC. It was a decade ago. What do you think of this matchup? And ultimately, who do you think wins? And Harrington and Bryan, jump on, give us your predictions.
I like it. I do think it's going to be fun. I think they're going to, put on a show. Both these guys are pretty damn good strikers. I do think Darren is the better boxer of the situation. I think if there's kicks and grappling involved, it's a completely different story, but there's not. It's a boxing match. And I thought Till looked good in his couple of boxing fights that we've seen so far. And I don't know if it's just Rockhold being Rockhold, but I feel like he is kind of underestimating Till because of what he maybe could do to him in their primes in MMA, but Till's much younger, and I think he's better. I got Darren Till winning this one, man.
Yeah, I mean, after watching Luke Rockhold's last UFC fight, I just think if Darren Till starts putting it on him, he's just going to give up.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what Darren said. Darren said, something along the lines of you're really technical, but you've got no balls. You know, that's what he said. And I don't think that's a fair assumption. And Harrington, I'll jump in a second because, all right, I clipped Rockhold, so did Yoel Romero, and so did Jan Blachowicz. And when you get knocked out, it's impossible to have balls. Balls don't come into it. When you get caught, and you get done like that, and I think the Jan Blachowicz and the Yoel ones were even worse than mine, you know what I mean, where he went proper to sleep. And I think I put him to sleep as well, but it was after a few shots, you know what I mean? But when you get knocked out like that, it doesn't matter how much balls you've got. When the lights are put out, it doesn't matter. It's done. I think he did show balls when he fought Paulo Costa. I think he showed a bit of grit and determination. So I don't think that's necessarily a fair assumption by Darren, but I understand why he would say that. And it is a funny line. Harrington, what do you think?
So I'm just looking here. Luke Rockhold has headlined 3 pay-per-view bouts in his life versus you, versus Yoel Romero, and versus Mike Perry. He has gotten absolutely dominated in all 3 of those. I think there is a certain amount of pressure that comes to being the main event and being the top of the card, holding, I don't know if it's the promotion gets to him or what it is, but the guy does not have a good track record of being at the top of these fight cards. So yeah, I think Darren Till gets this done in spectacular fashion.
Well, that's a good point that you bring up there, Mike, because that's another one where you can point to the balls, maybe say of Rockhold. But when your teeth get smashed in like that, the fight's done. You know what I'm saying? So again, Perry landed and he's just suited to bare knuckle and he smashed in. I think it was the bottom teeth. They were all smashed in. And again, unless you're an absolute moron, you're going to call it a day there. So I kind of give him a pass there. I think it's going to be, I think he's going to have some moments, but I think Darren's going to walk him down. I think he's going to get on the inside. I think he's got better hands. Rockhold's best weapon is his left leg. That's completely eradicated. His top game, his jiu-jitsu is completely eradicated. He's not a bad puncher, and he's improved over the years, but he's not the puncher that Darren Till is, and I don't think he ever was. And then you combine that with the fact that he's not 40 years old.
That's never been his thing. I mean, yeah, it's not bad. He's had moments with his hands, but it's to set up all those other things, and it's not there. It's pure, and it's boxing gloves. It's not MMA gloves. Darren's shown that he knows how to work in that situation and in those rule sets. And Darren's still on the better side of 30, right? He's still in his 20s.
32.
He's 32. He's still, I mean,
in his prime.
Prime.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been going for 90 minutes. We've just got a couple more subjects and topics. If there's anything that you think we need to get to, Harrington or Brian, jump in. Yes,
What
Brian?
about the other two very exciting fights that are happening this weekend? We have Tony Ferguson fighting YouTube sensation Salt Papi, and also the return of the undefeated, undisputed Chael Sonnen to combat sports.
What?
He is grappling with Craig Jones again.
Is it?
Yes, the CGI invitation.
Out of the minds.
Gable Stevens out, Chael P. Sonnen in. He's going to do commentary for Hulk Hogan, the former Hulk Hogan's, his new wrestling thing on Saturday, and then fly directly into Vegas to grapple with Craig Jones on Sunday.
So Chael Sonnen versus Gordon Ryan, who Gordon Ryan, by the way, was just banned from all UFC grappling events because he's openly takes all the steroids under the sun.
Versus Craig Jones.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me. Craig Jones. All right.
Yeah, crazy ass Craig Jones.
Yeah. He's funny.
He's wild, dude.
Tony Ferguson. I mean, listen, Brian, you knew more about Salt Papi. Maybe you can give us a technical breakdown. But I worry for Tony Ferguson.
Yeah,
dude.
This kid started as a YouTuber, went to some Jake Paul celebrity boxing event, he got in the ring, and then he fell in love with this. He went from being like a sack of leaves to looking like a little tiny brick shithouse. I'm worried for Tony Ferguson. I really am.
Brian, number on the notes. Where is it? Oh yeah, number 4. Just play that. I think it's a little video of Tony at the open workout.
Oh yeah, I have that.
Number 4 in MMA news. This is
not good.
Well, it's very Conor McGregor-esque or whatever you want to call it. He's doing professional wrestling.
He's kicking knees. That's good.
Breakdancing.
Sprawl. Yeah.
Oh, maybe let's go with the shades on.
Okay. Is he going to take Salt Papi down?
Well, he's just trying to do what. That's what happened with Darren Till and Tommy Fury. He said he'll kick him in the head, and then Tommy Fury pulled out of the fight.
Backed out. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Do we think Tony Ferguson wins?
I don't.
Do we think Chael Sonnen wins?
No, definitely not, unless it's rigged.
I had a grappling match against Chael Sonnen. It was a draw.
That's good. I mean, Chael's got a big wrestling background.
Yeah,
so this is the dude he's fighting. And the transformation that he has made.
Yeah.
Do we have any video of him?
Yeah, I can find it. Give me one second.
Salt Papi looking good, man.
He's jacked, and he's younger.
Oh, that's bad. That's a bad. What is the weight?
Oh,
anybody know?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Is he bigger than Tony? Smaller than Tony? Not that Tony gives a shit.
I would say the first picture, he was bigger. Who knows in the second one? But I have no idea. Bryan Battle got cut from the UFC. Did we talk about that? About it? So Bryan Battle, he was doing really good. He's got cut because he had a second straight weight miss at UFC 319. Made weight this weekend. Obviously, he's in Mike Perry's dirty boxing. I got to say, I was a little surprised that he got cut because he's looked really good in his last few fights. Off the top of my head, I can't remember his last few fights, but I know he had a big win in Paris and he rocked it on the microphone and everything. And he's been really, really improving in his skill set and stuff like that. However, I like it that the UFC has done this because they've got to send a message that it will not be tolerated. You can't just nonchalantly miss weight. I hope Bryan makes it back to the promotion. I know he said, I saw a video the other day, he did an interview, and that's what he wants ultimately. So he kind of took it in his stride. He was very mature about it, and he had some accountability and said he wants to come back. And I hope that he does, because I think he's definitely got a future, because he's had some tremendous performances. But you can't just go around not making weight habitually.
Yeah, and by big numbers too, in big fights and in fights that people want to see, and then that could move your career along. If you're missing weight by that, they're not going to trust you. You miss it at one weight class, then you move up a weight class and you can't make it there. That's the UFC feeling slapped in the face with that shit. And I think that's why, ultimately he's a young enough guy. Teach him a lesson. You got to get your shit together if you want to be here and start to fight these bigger fights. Because if you're winning fights and you're going up the rankings and you start pulling that shit, it really affects things.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to questions in just a minute. Arman Sarukian has posted a picture of his locker room fight outfit and said soon. So he's basically saying that he's fighting soon. So he's got a matchup. I would say that it's going to be Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria and Arman Sarukian versus Paddy Pimblett. What say you?
I mean, I wouldn't be. Again, we talked about this. It's got to be one of these situations. Something had to give if they're not giving it to Paddy off the bat. He's got to fight somebody. Justin made it clear that he doesn't want to be doing anything other than fight for a belt. And it's an interesting fight. But I love it. Just keep things moving along in that division. It's one of those divisions that people moving up weight classes, shifting the champion changing hands and stuff like that. It's some more consistency in these weight classes. Stop jumping ship, everybody.
Stop jumping ship and stop flipping and jumping and unsubscribing just because we take 3 weeks off the goddamn show, guys. No. We apologize, but we're back. We're back with the bang. We're doing another show on Monday. If you got a question, you send it into bympod@gmail.com. If you leave a question and you like and you ring the bell and you subscribe and you leave a comment in the section to help the algorithm, we'll do even more shows. In fact, down the line, we're hoping to go back to 2 shows a week. So there you go. Without any further ado, Bryan, after the hiatus that we had,
we got a few questions today.
All right, well, let's go.
We do. This one is from regular BYM contributor Hayden Melisone.
What's up, BYM? Hayden Melisone, New Orleans, Louisiana here. Got a question. This has always kind of bothered me. Everybody talks about how John Jones shouldn't be in this GOAT conversation because of the steroid allegations. But nobody talks about Towelgate, like Daniel Cormier missing weight by a significant amount because he put his hands on that towel and pushed. Like, that gives him a significant advantage, right, over his opponent who had to make the sacrifices and make the cut. So, like, what are we doing? Why do we laugh at DC when he cheats and then damn other people when they cheat? Cheating's cheating. It's unfair advantage in a sport that can have serious consequences. Let me know your thoughts.
Right. They're very, very different. They're very different, man. Look,
that
listen,
was my mind.
If you've never made weight, if you've never had to endure the brutality and the misery of a weight cut, we all know, Paul, if there's an opportunity where you could cheat the system a little bit, you will. DC tried it. He got away with it. Right? More money, more power to him. Had they have caught that, he'd have gone away and he would have endured a bit more misery and probably would have shaved off the other pound or whatever it was, because it can't have been too much. I forget what the original weight was before he put his hands on, right? He probably would have made weight, okay? He just saved himself a bit more misery, one would assume. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he would have made weight. We don't know that, but I would say that he would. He's a wrestler. He's used to cutting weight.
Yeah,
taking steroids is a very different thing.
Different. Yeah, we're talking, you're upping the level of everything that you're going through in camp, from recovery to being leaner, doing more reps, more training if you're taking steroids versus you maybe get away with a pound or so on the scale. I think they're drastically different situations. But he's right. Cheating is cheating. And listen, they changed how they weigh these guys in because of DC. So in a way, DC has helped the system and learned from their flaws. And now they do that big tent thing around them so that they can't touch it and make them put their hands up in the air so that he can't get away with it.
Yeah, he helped the game. Brian, what else?
We have a question here from another longtime contributor. This one is from Doug.
Hi guys, my question is for Mike and for Paul. It's all about cornermen. Whenever you watch team sports, football or whatever, there's always managers shouting at the side of the pitch. And I always think, well, the training's done. They probably can't even hear what you're saying, let alone put it into practice. So it got me thinking about MMA. How important is it to have cornermen? Could you actually just go back to your corner on your own with a stool, a towel and a bottle of water and be all right? Or is it just completely depend on the fighter? And the other question I had, if it's all right, was, Mike, you are massively English. You've lived in America for ages, but when you make references to Banana Man, the cartoon and stuff, I absolutely love it. And I just wondered what you miss the most about life in the UK or English people generally. All right, cheers, guys.
Paul, take it away.
Yeah, that was good stuff there. And that's a good question, especially in terms of the coaching and what are you really getting out of it? And I think he kind of answered a little bit out of himself that it's fighter to fighter. And I think situation to situation, depending on the arena. Are we in the Apex or are we in a sold out pay-per-view arena where the main event is got everyone riled up and there's just people screaming? I think the support is also what really helps fighters. These are the people that have been there with these guys all throughout training camp, just instilling all of these things that you've drilled every single day. So even if you're not hearing every bit in between when you're actually fighting, but when you get to that corner and you've got a connection with a good coach and they look you in the eyes, they can bring things up, they can motivate you. If you had just had a stool and a bottle of water there waiting for you, you wouldn't get any of that. You'd feel more down and out. You'd feel, more pain. You'd start to be more tired. Whereas you have the right coaches and support people around you also for technical advice, especially the later you are in your career. I think you really can take in little tiny things and think about that going into the next round and look for it. But more than anything, even if none of that works, certain coaches know to say certain things to certain fighters to get you a lot more energy to go out there for that next round.
Yeah, it all depends on the fights, as you say. Sometimes, you just need motivation, like the Teddy Atlas speech. You're a fireman, put out the fire. Sometimes you just need words like that. And I remember last week in China, there was a fighter. Who was it? I forget. And they weren't doing much. And the cornerman was like, "Is this what you've come here to do? You got to go out there and you've got to fight, man. You're not fighting. You've got to fight. Come on." Sometimes you need that, or sometimes there might be a glaringly obvious mistake that you're doing that you don't realize. Like a good example would be me at UFC 100 when I was circling into Dan Henderson's power hand. You know what I mean? So they were like, "What are you doing? You're going the wrong way. You keep going the wrong way." I still would have got knocked out anyway, but still, that's where cornermen can really come in handy. I don't like it when cornermen get too overly specific and they overload the fighter with, and they start just barking. Super technical instructions. Okay, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you do your 20 to your 6, and you blah, blah, blah. You need to move to the left and take a step back, and then you counter with the right hand. Then you're going to rip to the body, you're going to block, you're going to go with the right hook. Okay, got it. Okay, and it's like, the guy's heartbeat's going 160 BPM. They've just had the shit kicked out of them. They're absolutely exhausted. They can't even breathe. They are not listening
just giving them a monologue. Yeah. So there's no need for that. You know what I mean? Because ultimately you're going to fight to a certain degree how you're going to fight. But if you're making mistakes, they can point that out. They can give you encouragement. They can give you, technical inputs. Hey, remember in training camp, we were saying this. Remember, come on, you got to do that. That's what we worked on, and just remind them of the game plan and the strategy. So thank you very much. Brian, do we have one more?
We sure do. We got one from Adam.
What's going on, guys? Quick question for Mike and Paul. Have you ever been in the scenario where, let's say, you're the next fight up on the card, you're in the back getting ready to walk out soon, and the fight right before you, one of the guys gets sparked unconscious, absolutely flatlined, and you have to see that right before you're going out to fight. Does that bother you at all, or are you able to maintain a clear mindset, having just seen that and kind of knowing that could possibly be you out there? Really curious to hear your perspective on the mentality of that. Let me know. Huge fan of the show, and you, Harrington.
Yeah, I've got a really good example of this happening. UFC 110, London. I was fighting Akiyama. Dan Hardy was fighting Carlos Condit. He was co-main event. We had the same locker room. He goes out there. Carlos Condit and Dan Hardy both throw a left hook at the same time. They both connect. Condit gets a bit wobbled. Dan Hardy gets flatlined and knocked out unconscious. I see it happen on TV. Then Dan Hardy walks into the changing room right before I go out, and I'm like trying to give him words of encouragement. He did not know what day of the week it was. He didn't know where it was or whatever, and it's like, it's those moments, whether they've been knocked out or not, when like you're sharing a locker room and another guy comes in and they're covered in blood and shit. Yep. You're like, now it's my turn. Yep. Now it's my turn to go out there. Shit.
That's a really good question, because it affects you. I don't care who you are. Yeah. When those guys come back right before, or you're watching and somebody gets absolutely just flatlined or really badly injured from some armbar or something breaks, and you're like, I don't want to go out there and do, what am I doing here? I've had so many of those where the guy right before me comes out and because you kind of like pass each other too. You're trying to stay in the zone, but they're dragging them out past to bring them to medical, and you're seeing all that. It's like, oh man. Although I'm sure I've been the bloody bastard that's come back for some people too, with my eyebrow hanging off my face, and they're probably thinking, shit, I don't want to fight.
Yeah, it's a crazy sport. Well, listen, thank you guys. If you're here, if you're watching this, we appreciate the support, and we apologize for taking a little hiatus, but it was needed. But I thought we came back and we delivered a pretty good bloody episode, Paul. I don't know what you think, but I enjoyed myself.
It was good. It went by quick. I mean, that's an hour and 45-ish with
solid.
We're giving them a good one. We didn't come in here and shortchange them.
We'll be back on Monday to talk about, no doubt, Darren Till knocking out Luke Rockhold and much, much more. Questions, send them into bympod@gmail.com. You guys take care. All the best.